All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Brothas-in-law. As you know, I'm Corey Taylor, former Virginia State Trooper and a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer. And I'm joined tonight with my co-partner, Michael Bradley, who recently retired from the Pleasanton, California Police Department, 26 years of service. And tonight we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of the media versus police. All right. And before we get started, like always, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you like the content of this video here, let us know how you think about it in the comments below. Also, you can leave us some comments over on Facebook at Brothas-in-law or over on Instagram at Brothas-in-law_21. Give a shout out to Seiko Woods. Thank you again, sir, for allowing us to be on your show on Saturday. If you have not checked out that show, I'll leave the link to that down in the bottom so you can check that out. That's 3 hours long. We're on his podcast. So, you know, when you're going to the gym, getting your workout on, or you're going on a nice little ride, check it out. We put out a lot of good information in there. We think you'll like it and really enjoy it. So thank you again, Mr. Seiko Woods, for having us on the show. And we'd like to get you back on our show one day and talk to you about some things. So without further ado, we're talking pros and cons, media versus policing. So Mike, you know, a lot of things take place in the media. You know, that's a lot how we hear about how things happen, you know, in policing. And right. A lot of times, you know, that it can be good or it can be bad. It could help the police or it could, you know, hurt the police officers. And so we're just going to get some clarity, give our points of view on media and its relation with policing. And so if you want to start it off, my brother, go right ahead.
Sure. I mean, you know, a lot of information with police incidents and things that police do are already open to the public. So, I mean, if you wanted to know some information about some specific things, I encourage you to go down to your local police department and talk to them about it. And a lot of times the things that are open to the public anyway, they will let you know those things anyway. However, when it comes to criminal things or something that involves a detailed investigation, obviously they're not going to release a lot of information to the public until the investigation is complete. And the reason being is that they don't want to give information for half a story, basically. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It could jeopardize the investigation if you're given half the information when you don't know the other half and how it relates to it. And that's the thing with the media. See, the media, like you said earlier, they could be a friend or a foe. They can make a situation better or worse. The thing about the media is they will put out information, whether it's complete or not. They'll put out whatever they have, and they'll sometimes some media outlets will play with the words to make you want to click on that news article or tune into that channel just so you can see what's going on. And then what makes it worse is sometimes they may only have half the information themselves.
Right.
And you're getting half the information, making your own perception and judgment about what you think happened based off of what the media says. Mm-hmm. And that's my thing with the media, as far as cons go, is, you know, they can make it, and they can even make it dangerous for police officers out there on the street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's my biggest thing with the media is how they play on the words. It's okay. Are you trying to push a narrative or are you trying to help the situation? Because every time an incident happens or a police involved shooting happens, and it just so happens that the officer is white and the person, you know, that's been shot is black, does not make it a racist incident. You always know it's that's what they're trying to do, is make it a racial incident, because they'll specifically say, you know, white police officer shoots a black man. Well, we already know without having any further details. I mean, just that right there alone is going to get people spun up. Oh, here we go again. Another white police officer shoots another black person. And it doesn't even matter what the facts are. You know, did he have a gun? Was he, resisting arrest? Or, whatever the case may be. It's that headline: white police officer shoots a black man, right?
Mhm.
And then they'll probably throw
Mhm.
unarmed in there, but then a couple of days later we find out that they were actually armed. But that doesn't change anything because you've already pissed everybody off because you simply made it a racial incident by saying a white police officer shoots a black man without even knowing
Yeah.
really all the facts other than what you can get, what they were able to get from the police at that time, which is very, very little because it's still an ongoing investigation. So that's my problem with them. And by that, when the actual facts do come out, well, you've set the tone and the narrative already. Nobody even cares about what really happened. In their mind, oh, a white guy just shoots another black. Here we go.
Unjustly shoots a
Yep.
black person.
And that's building that narrative, and you only show that. See, if it's any other race, or if it was a black police officer or a Latino police officer that shoots somebody, they leave color out of it. It's just an officer shoots an unarmed man or shoots a man that was doing something. Well, we already know right there. They were either black police officer or Latino police officer shoots either a white person or maybe a Latino, which sometimes they don't, make that known. But why is it that they specifically have to say that it was a white police officer shoots a black man and make a racist? And the whole incident has nothing to do with racist being, a racist issue. And that's my gripe with the media in that, because I think they're keeping this going to where we have all this racial tension. Oh, now America's just so racist. Well, you didn't even get to look at the whole situation. You based it off on just being black and white. Now it's automatically a racist issue when it had nothing to do with race, right? And that's my take on it. I think that plays
I agree.
that's dangerous to the officers out here that are doing the job now, right? Because basically, matter of fact, there's a video that came out today where she was black lady gets stopped by a Latino police officer, and she totally berates him. I mean, totally berates him. And tells him he will never be white. You're a Hispanic. You will never be white. I mean, just totally berate. I wish I had the video here. I should have queued it up and played it for the our viewers tonight, but it's all right. And I said, well, here you go. That doesn't make any sense right there. Everything you already got this police officer labeled as a murderer and a racist, and you don't even know him. Right. But that's her mindset now because of what she's been seeing all in the media and yeah, misinformation that she's been getting, and without waiting. This is why we say, on face value, the media is gonna make the shooting look very bad in the beginning. And not it can be. But I always say, wait, there's always going to be more. There will be another video come out. You have to wait until the investigation is complete and let them bring out those extra body cameras or surveillance cameras that might have been in that area where they could have got good footage from, and be able to see what really happened, and not just that 30-second clip that's passerbyers who showed it or who took the video and then gave it to the radio or news station. So I say, oh, you have to wait. Just be patient. I know it can look bad on face. For example, the whole George Floyd. Yeah, it looked bad on surface, and yeah, it still could. It still got him convicted, but it allowed me to see what led up to it instead of just that 9 minutes. Well, to me, it's more to it. So, how did he get down? When you show me just a little snippet, I start asking a lot of questions: who, what, where, when, and why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's right, and that's natural. That's natural. As especially as after having been a police officer, there's always two sides of the story. Number one,
right,
and there's always more. We're going to have a police officer is naturally going to have more questions about why was this happen? Why did A, B, C, D, E happen? What led up to that? What happened after that? There's so many more questions. And like you had said, how the media can hurt the officers. That's hurt police officers that are actually working the street now. Mm-hmm. That is definitely some ways they could do that, because when you put partial information out, you form a false perception of the whole incident as a whole, and you're quick to judge someone. You're quick to jump the guns. And then when you add the element of our training and personal experience, not from a perspective of race, you see what I'm saying? If there's something that an officer has done in any situation, we can tell you whether that's something that is reasonable or not.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And people need to understand that. So we're not trying to be biased towards policing. We're only telling you, well, yeah, that does make sense for that officer to do this, that, or whatever.
Yeah. Because that just says a whole lot.
And the media has to be careful with yeah. And the media, like you said, the media can be an enemy, or they can be helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, the media, their objective is to put out stuff to get you to want to tune in, or get you to click on that news article and read it or listen to it. And that's what they are doing. They only put out information as they get it, which can be a bad thing, because that leads to them maybe not having the full story right away. Right. And they just put out what they got.
Right. And you're 100% right. I mean, it definitely changes how the outcome is, and how everybody's perspective is going to be. Because like I said earlier, at this point, when you put that title in there, white police officer shoots a black person, nothing else after that point really matters. They're spun up, right? And to me, like I said, that's just dangerous. Now you making out that every police officer is just out to gun down black people, and then you got your celebrities. They get in there and they start saying foolishness like that. For example, like we talked about LeBron James and what he said. You just made this officer a marked man, to put a target on his back, and he literally saved a girl, right? And you're telling him, you're just putting out there that oh yeah, here we go, another white police officer shoots a black person. Yeah. No, that's the wrong answer. Now you got, I think he's got what, 50 million followers on his Twitter, and now you got all these 50 million people thinking this guy literally killed this black girl for no reason. And if you even watch the video, that's a lie, right? And so people like that, you got to be careful what you put out there without knowing all the facts. Do your homework. Wait. That's why I say wait until everything comes out. And I'm so glad that the Columbus police put that video out as quick as they did. You see what I'm saying? Because had they waited, who knows what really would have happened. And thank God the officer had body camera. Thank God that the neighbor across the street had surveillance camera to give you that different angle, that different perspective of what happened. And see, those are things you have to wait for. I know it always looks bad, like I said, but you got to be patient. You got to wait for these things to come out, right? It's not, Hollywood where, it happens and doggone it's out in 2 minutes, right? It doesn't happen that way with investigations, especially when it's an active, ongoing investigation. All right. There are things that have to happen in order for them to be able to release it. But I'm so glad he was able to, the Columbus police captain or chief got that video out quick as he did. Normally it doesn't happen that fast, but he made it happen. And so that's the reasoning why you have to be patient. That's why the media, they got to be careful how they put information out there, because that right there could have just sent everybody, up in arms. And well, it still sent them out there to get out there and protest and everything. But you would have had another, Minnesota on your hands, and Columbus of burning stuff down if they hadn't released that video and as soon as they did. So, that's just my take on it. And, let us know what y'all think about the media and how the media plays a role in policing. Are they stirring up racial tensions between blacks and white, or are they trying to really stir up tensions between blacks and police, overall police?
Or are they doing that not caring whether or not they stir up? What I'm saying? They can be so focused on their own agenda as far as ratings and getting you to watch their channel or click on their news article, that they're not caring about whether or not they stir up trouble. You see what I'm saying? And keep in mind, a lot of times people say, well, why didn't the police department release all the information, or why didn't they release this body cam quicker, or something along those lines? People should understand sometimes that there are a lot of times where the police department, they don't have a completed investigation because they're in the middle of it too. You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to release information when it's incomplete. Mm-hmm. They're not just going to give you half the story, because the police departments don't operate like the media. You see what I'm saying? So they're not just going to give you half a story if they don't have the other half of the story.
Right.
They're going to, when they're done and they can figure out what is what. Now they'll release stuff that, that's important to public safety, things like that. They don't want the community to be in any kind of danger or anything like that. So if there's information that they need to release to protect the public, they'll do that. You see what I'm saying? Mm. But they don't want to jeopardize their investigation by prematurely just releasing some information when they don't have all the information. Right. And that could take time. That's all. Cops love video cameras. I love video cameras when I had them, when I was a police officer. So it's got nothing to do with the officers trying to hide something. No, I want you to see what I saw when I saw it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's important, that people need to understand.
And that's part of it too, that the media's got the people thinking now that, okay, so they don't release these videos in a timely manner, that, they trying to hide the story. They trying now, not to say that it has never happened before in the past, in the earlier days of policing, before we got, the body cameras and everything. But it's just the fact that, so many people have to review that video footage before it gets put out. And, like you said, they're still doing the investigation to gather more evidence, what may be, to try to talk to witnesses, to collaborate, to make sure this video, what the witnesses are saying matches up to what you have in the video. So it builds the complete story. You got a complete timeline of what happened, so but the media at the same time can be good for policing, helping to put out the information, especially when it's a high vis crime that's taking place, to put the information out to the public, to get people to call in the hotlines to give information on that subject that they could be looking for. I mean, they have and that's why it's called the pros and cons of media versus police. I mean, there's good and bad, but I just would like for them to stop trying to make everything about race. If it is truly, in fact, a racial incident, it's going to come out in the investigation, not only at the local level, but then, if it gains the recognition of nationwide attention, then you'll have the federal investigators, the FBI, and the Department of Justice getting involved. If it's race, just let it play out is what I would like to say. Let it play out. Let's see what happens. Still protest. Again, you never hear Mike and I say, nothing about protesting. Peacefully protesting. Just getting out here and looting and tearing up your own neighborhoods and burning stuff down. That's not protesting. You don't go. The people you burnt buildings and stuff that are getting burnt down had nothing to do what happened between that officer and that citizen. So we have to be patient, stay calm, and let the investigation take its course. But go ahead.
It's another thing I wanted to touch on real quick is how we talked about how the media can be dangerous to officers that are working the street right now. And more specifically, what pops into my head is I think what you're seeing in the media lately has caused a perception amongst the younger generation of looking at police officers as the enemy. Yeah. So they get pulled over by an officer, they immediately are looking at that officer as that's my enemy. Mm-hmm. They are immediately looking at that officer as I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to do what you say. Right. You can't do that to me, and you can't make me do this, and you can't make me do that. They're automatically go ahead.
Or are you going to kill me like you killed? Yeah. Such and such? Well, first of all, I didn't kill such and such. I wasn't there. Why are you talking out the side of your neck like that? See, and that's all that perception that comes from media. Now, it's almost like, like you're saying, like we're public enemy number one. No, we're not public enemy. And so the respect for authority is gone. Because I can remember being in at a gas station where I normally get coffee on midnight shift, and the old gentleman, black gentlemen, will come in there and hey, trooper, how you doing? Good, sir. How are you? It's like, oh, can I bend your ear for a minute? Yes, sir. What you got? And they say, what's wrong with these young folks, trooper? They just don't want to listen. Sir, I wish I had an answer for you. I said, it's a lack of, they don't respect. He said, man, I feel for you guys out there on the road. He said, I pray for y'all law enforcement every day. I said, man, I appreciate it. I said, but the bottom line is these young folks just don't have no respect for authority anymore. And when they do this and they spin in this narrative in the media as, police officers out here just solely gunning down blacks, well, that triggers in their mind like, screw you, I ain't gonna respect, y'all out here just gunning down black folks all willy-nilly for nothing. You kill my man for a busted tail light. No, that's probably not why. That's not why he got killed, for a busted tail light. You forgot about the going for the gun and shot at the police officer, and the police officer returned fire. Not all of them are bad. There are ones that are justified, and there are some that aren't justified. And those are ones that aren't justified. We need to make sure that the law enforcement are being held accountable for those.
And we need to also clarify that there are a lot of them that are justified, but the community doesn't want to accept the justification. We got a lot of those too. I mean, when you talk about a lot of the incidents in the past that you've seen on the media, even the ones that are justified, you still have the community because they just are locked into, no, it wasn't. He lost his life. You didn't have to kill him or her. They're stuck on that. But it's a justified incident, but they just don't refuse to believe it. So I think you always going to have that element of communities, of people in the community that just refuse to accept the justification, because in their minds, they don't think of it as justified. That's just how it's going to be. But, it is what it is. And if you want to protest about something, you like to say, me and Corey and I have always encouraged, protesting. There's nothing wrong with protesting. But keep in mind, sometimes it might be hard for some people to see where you're coming from because they never thought that the incident was unjustified from the beginning. You see what I'm saying? And you got to respect people's opinions on that and people's knowledge. Again, as I said 100 times on this show, me and Corey, we tell you whether or not this would be from a reasonable officer or not. You see what I'm saying? And we completely subtract race from procedures and policies and things that officers would do on the street and how they would do them. You see what I'm saying? So that's where that's how we want to come across, so that no matter what side of the fence, whether you think something is justified or not, we're the reasonable officer, if you will, that can tell you, yeah, that sounds reasonable from an officer's perspective.
Right.
Of what an officer would do and how an officer may perceive that particular situation.
Right. And now I was saying that's all we want to convey here. Is this something that, like you just said, a reasonable officer would do? Would he do? Okay, we've already clarified, the Chauvin case. No, you would not put your knee on somebody's neck. But however, yes, you could, depending on if you was putting them in a T3 wrist lock to put handcuffs on them. You may, depending on how you did an armbar takedown, you may end up with your knee between their shoulder blades. Which is okay, so that you can get the cuffs on. Once the cuffs are on, then you put them in the recovery position, or you put them on their butt, make them sit in Indian style. But is this something that we know now now that's not something a reasonable officer would do? And a reasonable officer would be checking on the subject to make sure they're not hurt. Because overall, the number one priority of the officer is to ensure that citizen safety. Number one. I know that's kind of hard for people to try to want to believe, but the overall responsibility of the officer is your safety, not just your safety, but their safety, right? So, again, we just gotta, stop. I don't want to say stop listening to media, but take what they say with a grain of salt, and don't be so quick to rush to judgment. Oh, they just gunning down for no reason, and some of these attorneys and things that represent families use different words to entice everybody to, or call it an execution, calling it this, and calling it, and it's not that. So what we need everybody to do is just kind of just calm down, woosah, like they said in Bad Boys 2, woosah, and let's take it down a level, and not be so quick to go out here and just start tearing up stuff and burning things down. That's what I have a problem with, because it's like they're enticing people to go that way, to get out there in the street and get out there and just be destructive, and you don't even know all the facts. You don't even know all the facts, and you're out here, just tearing up, property that don't belong to you, that somebody else worked their butt off to succeed. And you're doing it to Black-owned restaurants and businesses as well. So it doesn't make any sense why you're doing it. It's not helping the situation. It's not helping the cause. It's not helping us as a community to come together. All you're doing is really dividing the community and the nation overall. It's not bringing us together. We need to come together as one and unify as one. And we can't do this when we're going out here tearing up other people's stuff. We need to get back to the basics and have common respect for everybody, even in law enforcement. Having that common respect for everybody. Being a law enforcement officer is not an easy job. right? I wish state had ride-along program, but they don't. But I know there's maybe some small counties around here that do. Get out there and get with them and do ride-alongs. I highly encourage ride-alongs so you see what it's like out there, and uh, and get a better perspective on what the day in the life of a police officer is. So that's my 2 cents.
I hear you. And you know, real quick too, but we talk about rioting and the looting. The looting is something when you going into these places and you stealing all kind of stuff. I hate when people turn around and they say, well, it comes to this when we tried peaceful protesting and people aren't hearing us, or we feel that the peaceful way isn't effective enough. I hate to hear that, because when you stealing stuff, come on, you can't tell me you stealing stuff because you tired of what's going on. No, right. You stealing stuff because you're a thief. You right. stealing stuff because that's what you wanted to do right. in the first place, and you just got what you feel is a license to go in these businesses and steal a bunch of stuff. Right. Okay, come on. I mean, doing the job, when we were on the job, you know, how many times you get people running and stealing stuff, and mobs of people going into the mall and stealing stuff from department stores, stuff like that. Now, y'all just using that as an excuse and an example to feel like you got some kind of permission to go in and steal some stuff. But I mean, you know, no matter what you think, stealing stuff and doing unpeaceful protests when you trying to hurt people, that ain't getting no message across. That never will get a message across. No. Okay, people will never hear what you saying. If they didn't hear what you were saying in a peaceful protest, they definitely ain't gonna hear what you're saying in a non-peaceful protest. You see what I'm saying? Right. That's my thoughts on it. I mean, you know, people might have their own opinion about that, but you ain't doing nothing but hurting yourself. Those stores and businesses will be rebuilt anyway at some point. And some of them won't, though. So, you know, you might be doing some damage to people, to hard-working people that ain't got nothing to do with what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? Right. But you just, you know, that never to me was something that was effective in getting the message across.
Right. You're definitely not going to get even me. You're not going to get me to come on or have pity and mercy for you like this. That's not justifiable. You know, here's the thing. It was one of the 10 commandments say, "Thou shalt not steal." Doesn't say with the exception of looting. You never get the green light from our Creator to go ahead and steal. It's not right. It's wrong. But what we do know is that our viewers aren't the ones that will be going out here and doing things like that. The people who actually need to hear this word, I believe, are the ones that, you know, would never tune into our type of YouTube channel. But however, we expect our viewers, I should say, I challenge our viewers to have this type of conversation, you know, with those young youthful people that will go out there and do these things. You got to discourage them to not to do it. That's not the way to do it. You know, I often think about, you know, what would Dr. King think, and all the others who stood arm in arm with him, you know, that did peaceful protest, and what would they think now? You're going and burning down things. Is that helping the cause? Is that helping to unify a community? Because at the end of the day, the police still work and live within these communities. And you see them out at the stores and out at the malls and out at the fairs and out in the yard cutting grass and things like that. You know, people still come up to me when I'm outside cutting my grass and want to still talk, even though I'm not with the department, but they, you know, I'm part of the community. Right. They know me in the neighborhood. You know, I mean, I always ask, hey man, you going back? No, I'm not going back, man. I'm good now. But you know, they're in your community. So we have to get back to the basics and build unification. We can't allow ourselves to get caught up in what the media says and let that set the pace, or set the tone, I should say, for how the whole thing is going to play out when we know there's more to it, you know. So I just caution everybody to please let's just be calm. Let's not take everything that the media puts out as verbatim. Like, yep, that's exactly what happened because you know your local news told you or mainstream media told you that this is what happened. Let's see everything play out, right? Because we'll never start unifying if we just go off on a misguided direction and not know what's going on. We have to start trying to unify ourselves as one. This is why, you know, we're preaching calm, to stay calm when you're interacting with police, right? And staying calm is complying, answering questions, listening, and moving on, right?
Right.
This is all what we want. We need to have everybody safe when you're interacting with law enforcement. I don't care if you're black, white, blue, purple, green, yellow. I don't care. As a Christian man, a man of God, I don't care what your color is because God doesn't care what your color, your skin is. He cares about your soul. He cares about your spirit. When you leave this earth and you go before him, is he going to say, well done, my true and faithful servant, and let you in the pearly gates? Or he's going to say, no, you deny me, you did this, and boot cast you off into hell for all eternity, right? We need to stop this. We need to stop this. Recognize this for what it is. This is a sinful issue. Let's look at what everybody did. It got them to that place where they are now. When this incident happened, let's look at their whole life. Let's figure out how we can fix that so they don't end up leaving this earth before their time, right? And that's what calm is all about, teaching you these principles so you leave that traffic stop unharmed, and the officer, he or she, can go back to their vehicle unharmed. That's it. You get a ticket, you have a warrant for your arrest, it's game over. Go to jail, handle it in court, like we talked about on Mr. C.A.L.M Woods podcast on Saturday. It's game over. Go to jail, handle it in there, and be done with it. If you got to do 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, do it. But at least you still alive, man. At least you can still come back out and be productive in society. Who knows? You know, God could be guiding you in a direction and setting you up for a better outcome. But we got to stop this resisting and not paying attention and have total disregard for authority.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, that's really what it tops off at, you know. And, you know, like I said, like you said earlier, just whatever you hear in the media, take it with a grain of salt. Always assume that there's more to the situation than what it was put out. You'll hear it eventually. It just takes time. So just be, you know, always be careful of what you hear from the media, because the media is getting information just like you are. Sometimes they get the whole story, sometimes they don't. They're just going to put out whatever they have. And they're going to put, like they had the headline with the Ma'Khia Bryant stabbing. The headline was something along the lines of police kill black girl with a knife. Okay, but they don't make, you know, they don't say police kill black girl who was stabbing somebody else. Right. You know, they want to say black girl with a knife and leave it at that and cause you to, you know, figure out what is what.
And look how that got people spun up. Look how that got people in Columbus spun up.
It still got people spun up. There's still people out there who believe that officer shouldn't have shot. And those are the people you can't reach. You're not going to be able to help. They're not going to hear you. They're not listening to us when we say, from a reasonable officer standpoint, that was a good shooting. They don't want to hear that. They refuse to accept that because they look at that young girl's life is gone. And the emotions of that young girl's life being gone overrides any logical thought process of how that happened.
Right.
You know?
And that,
But you know,
and
but
that's just like the one video Seiko showed us with what was that guy's name? Umar
Dr.
Johnson.
Umar
Johnson.
is it Johnson? Yeah,
What he was saying on the
yeah.
Breakfast Club, and just like, so the other black girl's life didn't matter then. You're saying that
Right, right.
this officer should
Like,
be left.
and then he
Yeah,
says, "Well, I got lunch ladies that went up and will take a knife out of the kids' hands or something." Okay, them some super women right there. Cops ain't supermen. Okay,
yeah,
you got a knife and you try to stab somebody, you're gonna get shot.
yeah.
Okay, and common sense should tell you that. If you don't know that, common sense should tell you ain't no police officer gonna try to run up and grab a knife out of the hand of somebody getting ready to stab somebody. You're
Right.
gonna get stabbed.
You're gonna
You know what I'm saying? No.
yeah.
Knife does not equal taser. Knife equals gun.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And people need to understand, and that's from just a reasonable officer's point of view. Not a black officer, not a white officer. It's a reasonable officer's point of view. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's what I'm talking about when you got guys like him putting this stuff out here, and these people have millions and millions and millions of viewers. And you got them thinking like, yeah, well, how is it that a 62-year-old lunch lady can wrestle a knife out of a teenage kid's hand and not get stabbed or hurt? Well, first of all, I don't know what school you went to. You had knives. We had sports. I mean, we had regular forks, but I mean, we had a knife, it was a butter knife, but okay, butter knife. But she didn't have no butter knife. She didn't have no butter knife.
Well, you know, you got to look at the bigger picture too. Is you know, when I went to school, we had fights and stuff.
Yeah,
but
we
didn't have no knife fights and stuff. I mean, these, you know, these schools. I think we've become so desensitized to violence now that that's normal and nothing for these high school kids to be having knife fights in the lunchroom, stabbing each other. To me, that's way out of left field, like some you see, like y'all some criminals, y'all some straight up thugs and criminals to be in that kind of environment. Let's keep it real. Let's say what it is. Right. You know, we didn't have to defend ourselves with a knife, bro. We put them paws on you, right? We had one and two. That was it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I mean, so for a lunch person to have to wrestle a knife out of somebody's hand, that's ludicrous to me. Yes. You see what I'm saying? And hey, if y'all did it and you didn't get stabbed, good for you. All right. Okay. Wasn't something I would be doing. As an officer responding to someplace, I ain't grabbing knives out of your hand.
No, because I ain't trying to get stabbed. But what my point with him is again, he's on a big platform, putting this information out there and totally disregarding the whole fact of the matter is that he saved another girl's life. And you're still trying to make it a racial issue. And these people that are listening to him aren't going to go out and do their homework and look at it and judge for themselves. They're just going to take his side and take it as gospel. And we have to be careful about what we're listening to because that's false information. And you building on that narrative as just, you know, now everybody thinks this guy is just a straight racist cop. Right. And not even know him. Because like you said in a couple of our videos and even over on the weekend when we're on that podcast, you know your police officers. You know, would it have made a world of difference if the people in that neighborhood really knew who this officer was on this particular shift? Like you said, get to know the officers on certain shifts that work in your neighborhood. You see them out there, stop and talk to them. You know, would that have made a difference on how things played out if, you know, he knew her? I mean, if he still was put in that situation, I still think he would have made the same decision. Right.
Oh yeah, and put in the situation of her getting ready to stab somebody. Yes. Yeah, I don't care if you would have known her or not. You would have had.
You still would have had to done it. Right. Right. But I mean, could that have played out differently if he had a relationship with them and knew them in that neighborhood and they knew who he was? I mean, I don't know. I just think it's just dangerous when you have people, you know, out here just making it an a race issue, and they have a huge following, and then on top of what they hear on these mainstream media broadcasts, uh, and just building on that hate and that racial tension, keeping it. I mean, now, yeah, why do you think these people think, yeah, America is racist, right? Because this is all you hear. White police officer kills a black person. White police officer kills a black person. Every day, all day. I mean, because LeBron have you thinking that, you walk out your door, you should see black people just laid all out in the street.
Yeah, true. And here's the part about the media that we talk about is, are there white officers killing white people?
Oh yeah,
there are plenty of shootings with police killing white people, but you just don't hear that on the news because that's not what's going to grab that headline. That's not what's going to grab your attention right now. You see what I'm saying? So,
and it's not going to cause white people to get out in the street and start protesting and burning things down. No, it's not. They're not going to do that. But I can assure you that, white people are getting shot. Now we can get into the debate whether it's, well, blacks are getting shot more. Well, probably not. This just seems more because they're pushing that narrative. But you can look up.
You know how I feel about stats. You can make stats look whatever you want them. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's a difficult situation. I know we kind of get into another topic on that, but
we know.
I mean, it is what it is. We're gonna stick with one incident at a time. And the next incident, I could tell that is not a racial thing because he decided to shoot Ma'Khia Bryant, right?
Right.
And that's about just like Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor was not a racial thing.
Right.
That was somebody was shooting at them and they returned fire and she got caught in the crossfire. Mm-hmm. That didn't have nothing to do with the fact that she was black. You see what I'm saying? That went down because of the circumstances that unfolded at the moment that they unfolded. That's nothing more than that. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Like I say, we are what we think of ourselves as the reasonable officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of whether or not we would have done the same thing or not. Could we have looked at that as reasonable? There could be multiple answers to that of what is reasonable, right? But we can tell you, I could see myself definitely shooting in that situation, or I could see myself definitely tackling someone in that circumstance, or whatever the issue is in that particular instance.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, that's the bottom line. Our main objective for this show here is to recognize, yes, a problem did happen. Let's not rush to judgment that it was automatically a racial issue just because the title says a white police officer shoots a black person. Does not make it a racial issue automatically, right? We can't assume that just because the media, said it that way. So I want our viewers to get the word out to, we need to tell everybody we have to stay calm. Let it all play out. I know you don't like hearing that. I know that's a hard pill for our viewers to swallow, but we have to do it. We have to do it, right? We have to get control over, because if we're going to try to make any change or make a difference, nobody's going to want to sit down at the table and try to make change if you're out here tearing up everything, looting and burning stuff down, and going around just beating up people because you think you angry. But what are you angry at? If it's not a racial incident, not because, or even if it was racial, it doesn't give you the right to go still and just start beating up on people because of the color of their skin. But my mom always told me 2 wrongs don't make a right.
That's true.
Right? We gotta, if we're gonna fix this, we all need to calm down and let it play out and take the correct actions to implement change. Again, how do we say that before in one of our other videos and make change? Well, you need to be active within your community, within your law enforcement. Like Mike said, get to know your law enforcement. officers in the community. Get to know them. Find out what type of programs and things, outreach programs and things that they have. Quit telling your kids to not associate or talk to police. Even if they're in trouble, they got to have somebody that they can run to. Start encouraging youth that may not be want to go to college. Well, let's talk to them and try to get them into the police departments, more blacks into the police departments. And this is how we affect change. Run for city council, run for mayor in your city, in your town, or whatever case may be. Do things that put yourself in a position to make change. Be a voice in the community. Start an outreach program and get these kids off the street. Well, I know we have outreach programs, but do more. Maybe just find 5 or 6 kids in your neighborhood, round them up and get together with them on a weekend and play football. Go find a field and play football with them. Get them off the street.
And you know what? And real quick, you hear the question a lot where what should a black parent tell their black sons and daughters what to do when they get pulled over? I'm gonna tell you what to do. You call your local police department and you have a police officer come out to your home or your organization, your Boy Scout troop or your cheerleading group or your football team at the high school, and you have them give a presentation on what you should and should not do when you get pulled over by police.
Or they can have us do it.
They can have us do it.
They can have us do it.
We do a little and talk to your group or your organization or whatever your family about the do's and don'ts or what you should do if you get stopped by the police, if you get pulled over by the police in any form or fashion. We will tell you what you should and should not do.
Yeah.
So that's what a black person should teach their sons and daughters about what they should do and how they should interact with police.
Correct.
I don't care if you feel that a white person's response of being stopped by police is different or better than a black person. It really don't matter to me. Okay. What matters to me is that you feel safe when you see those lights behind you and you know what you should and shouldn't do so that everybody goes home safe.
Right.
That's it.
So with that being said, we thank y'all for tuning in this evening. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel and get this message out there. And remember to always stay calm, right? Like Mike just said, there are things that we can do to ensure to minimize any type of wrongdoings to happen during the traffic stop. And that's to stay calm, comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. So if you like to learn more about that, hit us up. We can set up a Zoom conference, or if you're local, I can come to you. Mike will be more than happy to come out this way, or if you're out there on the West Coast, I'll be more than happy to come out that way, and we can put something together for you all. We can put training scenarios together for you all to show you the reaction time that you would have to have in a shoot, don't shoot situation. So reach out to us through Facebook, or leave us some contact information down below, and we can set something up for you. But we need to get this word out there to everyone, not just black, but whites, Latinos, whatever the case may be, to get this word out on how to stay calm. Because believe it or not, there is biblical scripture that goes along with calm. And we'd love to share it with you all to show you that there is scripture to tell us how we need to be, and it goes right along with calm. Each letter in that acronym, there's a scripture that goes along with it. We'd love to share that with you all. So thank you again for tuning in. Again, like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and check out characteristics of a good police officer, good and bad characteristics of a police officer. Also, the do's and don'ts of a traffic stop. I think that was our very first video we did, which we lay out on what to do during a traffic stop. So thank you. We hope you like this content of this video here, and we look forward to seeing y'all next week.
All right. Peace out.
let's see.